Hey, riders and racers, and welcome back for another live stream. Today's live stream is how to get started with your training for Finke 2022. So I know we've just had Finke for this year, and there's a few of you that will get the Finke bug who either haven't been out there before, or those of you who have been a few times already and will be getting ready to go again next year. And the big thing with going back is improving on your results. So if you didn't finish for the one just gone, hey Luke, then your goal is probably just to finish and tick the box and get your spike. Otherwise, if you did finish, you got a result, and there's a specific result that you want to improve on as you go into next year. And so usually what I find happens with riders is they want to put more work and more effort in to be able than what they did previously. They've learnt new things with bike setup, with training, with just knowing what to do. Like, hey Stu, getting out to Finke, it's the logistics, it's knowing the track, knowing what to expect, how to plan. So I find that when you go in the second, third, fourth time, is riders put a lot more effort in, but they're also a bit smarter about how they approach it as well. So if you want to get started now with your training, what I wanted to do on today's video is just give you a few tips or a few things that you can start to work on now to get ready for next year, because you've got 12 months to put in some good work, which means that you can make some really good progress and get much better results with your racing. So first thing to work on is you want to increase the amount of quality bike time that you have. Now, the easy way is just ride more and get on the bike. I understand for 99% of you, 99.99% of you, you're not riding for a living. So you've got you've got a work that you need to do during the week. You're a FIFO worker, you work on a mine site, you do long days, you've got your own business that you run. There's other things that you have to do throughout the week. And riding is your hobby or your passion. It's not the thing that's generating income for you. So there's something else that has to happen to allow you to go riding and allow you to go Finke in the first place that has to get done, that's not really negotiable. So increasing quality bike time just means getting on the bike more, number one. But number two, the other way that you can do it, and this is what I recommend for a lot of riders that are not professional racers, is we need to increase the quality of the bike time when you do get out for a ride. So if you're only getting out for a ride, say once a week or once every fortnight, and that's all you can get, okay, because work takes up the rest of your time or that you've got other commitments, that's fine. But we need to find a way to improve the amount of bike time or the quality of the bike time you get when you do get on the bike. And the way you do that is through off the bike training. Okay, so it's making sure you're doing the right things off the bike in the gym or at home to help you for when you do get on the bike. So instead of waiting a week or 2 weeks to get on the bike and then spending most of your time pulled over or most of your time sucking in the big ones or most of your time sitting at the car, you can spend more of that time that you have actually riding the bike and getting bike time in. So imagine if you can spend double the amount of time on the bike riding at your 100% or riding well just by doing things off the bike in those other week or 2 weeks that you're not able to ride. You're going to be able to improve your riding a lot quicker in a much shorter period of time without having to get on the bike more and more. It's just when you are getting on the bike, you're extracting the most you can from the limited time you have to ride. So how do you do that? The two main ways are through strength training and through cardio. So the first thing that you want to be doing during the week is you want to make sure that you're starting to build a really good base of strength. So the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter the bike's going to feel. And the lighter you can get the bike to feel, the less fatigue you're going to experience on the bike and the less energy you're going to use on the bike. So the less fatigue you experience and the more energy you can save, the longer you can ride harder for. Okay, so if you can start to do that now, start to get stronger now rather than waiting until next year, what that means is every time you get on the bike between now and Finke for next year, so roughly 11, 12 months, all of that riding time that you have is going to incrementally increase. Okay, so if you start getting stronger now and start fatiguing less now, that means every ride that you have from now on, you're getting more quality bike time in. Okay, even if you're not riding more, okay, in terms of riding twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, even if you just stick to riding once a week, when you get out on the bike, you're actually getting more out of that bike time because you're fatiguing less, you're able to ride harder for longer periods of time. The other side, the cardio side. So you want to make sure that with your off the bike training that you're tackling 2 areas. So you've got your aerobic training and your anaerobic training. So when we look at Finke, there's 2 energy systems that are at play. We've got one which is the aerobic energy system, which is our long distance endurance system. Now, obviously for Finke, if you're doing it in around the 3 hour mark, which is, I guess, the average for all the riders that get out there. Some of you will be quicker, some of you will be a little bit slower. That's the energy system we want to work. That's your long distance endurance system. And so the way that you train that, either you can train that on the bike, so when you go riding on the weekends, go for 3 or 4 hour rides at a time. But if you can't always do that, then during the week, do longer distance cardio stuff. You could do a 20-minute row, go for an hour mountain bike ride. Okay, do a half hour on the exercise bike, and we can build the energy system that way. The other energy system is our anaerobic energy system, which is our short, sharp burst of high intensity energy system. So when you're at Finke, although you're riding at high speed, and especially for this year, the track was very fast, even if you're averaging a high speed, okay, there's parts of the track that take more effort than other parts of the track. So there's parts of the track where you can sit down, hold it wide open, and in terms of like physical fatigue, it's quite low. But then there's also other parts of the track that are very rough or very whooped out, where you have to be up on the pegs a lot, and it's causing quite a bit of fatigue on your body. So the intensity, although it's a 3 or 4 hour race, the intensity is up and down depending on the section of the track that you're going through. And that's the same for any track, whether it's a motocross track, a road racing track, an enduro loop, Finke, Hatter, any track. So we need to train both energy systems. So the way that you do that is either you can do that, practice that on the weekend, you can do like sprint laps, okay, or work on doing a few laps hard and then resting, a few laps hard, resting, depending on the type of riding that you're doing. And the way that you train that during the week is you do intervals. So if you're using a rowing machine, a minute on, a minute off. If you're using an exercise bike, could be 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and we're doing 10 rounds, 15 rounds, 20 rounds of that. So the way that you train the energy system is not as important as just making sure you're training both of them. Okay, you're not doing just one or just the other. When you can improve both of those, when you can improve your cardio, your endurance improves on the bike. So when you've got the strength there, it allows you to be able to recover from all out efforts on the bike very quickly so that you can keep up a higher pace. So as I said, it's not about just getting on the bike more. Okay, it's easy to say that, just go and ride more, but it's not necessarily easy to do if you're not riding for a living. So we need to make the most of the time that you have on the bike, the time that you go out and ride. We need to extract the most out of that, and the way that we do that is through off the bike training during the week. So starting out from 12 months now, you can be a night and day different rider in 12 months time simply by doing a lot of off the bike work and not riding any more than you currently are, just because when you do go out and ride, you're actually riding, okay, rather than resting, recovering, or spending time in the car. The second area is enter events every few months. So when you go and do big races, especially like Finke, there's a lot of nerves and anxiety and stress that goes on with racing, which is number one. But the second thing that happens is when you start to train for an event so far out, so 12 months out, your motivation to train and your motivation to eat well, motivation to lose weight or gain weight or get stronger and do all those things is quite low. And what you'll find is as you get closer and closer and closer to the event, your motivation starts to increase, and it will peak at the event, and then at the event, then it will drop off again. And the reason that happens is because as we get closer towards our goal or our deadline of our goal, we want to do well. Okay, so we start putting more effort. It takes more of our focus, more of our attention. Now, if we know that in advance, if we know our motivation is going to be much lower now than what it is in, say, 9 months' time going into Finke next year, we can use that to our advantage. And so the way that you use that to your advantage is instead of just doing no other events and just doing Finke next year, start to do events or races every few months. So preferably every 3 months, okay, every 12, 13 weeks. So it could be a transmoto that you do. It could be a desert race that you do. It could even be maybe you like doing technical enduro. Maybe it's a motocross event, and maybe there's a Pony Express near you that you can get together. Maybe it's a grassroots enduro or an ARC round or a Vic Off-Roads round. Get to some races, okay? Do a handful of races before you get to Finke next year. So what that will do is, number one, it will increase your motivation because we've got a shorter term goal, which means it'll be easier for you to put more effort into your training, more effort into your eating. And even though they're not your main goal, they're just helping to motivate you, okay, and get you to put in the work. Overall, these shorter term goals that might not be as important to you, but they're stepping stones that are helping you to put in more work and more effort with your riding and racing for your longer term goal, which might be Finke for next year. So get out to some events. Okay. The other thing that it will help with is nerves and anxiety as well. The more you compete, the more you get used to being under pressure. So the more if you don't race for a year and then you get out and race, you feel like you're under a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of stress and a lot of nerves there. So the way that you can help to lower that is exposure therapy, which is putting yourself in that environment a little bit more often. So if you can do that every few months, then Finke isn't going to be as big of a buzz for you, and you can be a little bit more focused for your riding and racing. Our third thing is, if you need to, get your body weight in check. Okay, you got 12 months. Every year, it's the same for me working with Finke guys. Okay, you get more and more inquiries with regards to training and programming and fitness. The closer it gets to the event, especially a few months out, that's when people seem to be putting in the most work and going, oh shit, it's getting close. I've got to do something. If I don't do something now, it's not going to be a fun experience. But in terms of losing body weight, if you do have a little bit of body weight to lose, you want to make sure you've got as much time under your belt as you can to be able to lose that weight. Okay, you don't want to be in a rush and doing all sorts of stupid things last minute to try and drop body weight. So if you've got 5 or 10 kilos to lose, you've got plenty of time to lose it. If you start now, you can make it a steady progress and make it much easier on yourself to lose weight and not have to take up really drastic measures to try and drop weight. The closer you leave it, just the harder it is, the more pressure you put yourself under. You're trying to get the bike ready, you're trying to prep the bike, you're trying to organize for Finke, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get fit, you're trying to eat well, like you're trying to get your nutrition sorted for the event. There's just a lot of things going on. So the more things you can start to work on now, the less things you have to focus on as you get closer to the event because you've already taken care of some of the other things. So if you do need to start losing weight, again, you might find it hard to get motivated to start losing weight now, 12 months away from an event. That's why it's important for you to set smaller goals that challenge you in the lead up, because that will get you, instead of you focusing purely on 12 months away, that's miles away, you're focusing on something that's in the next 12 weeks. Okay, so encourage you guys as much as possible to get out to events as much as you can. At a minimum, every few months, get out to an event. Give yourself something to work towards to motivate you, and that's going to help you with Finke anyway. So that's it. That's the 3 areas. First of all, increase your quality bike time by either one, get on the bike more if you can, but if you can't, it's easier said than done. As I said, do the right strength work, the right cardio work, do the off the bike stuff to make sure you've got better quality bike time. If you can get better quality bike time, your riding is going to improve, even if you're not doing more riding sessions. Second, enter events every few months to keep yourself motivated and driven. So you put in the work, okay, with your nutrition, you put in the work with your training, and you want to keep getting at it, okay? Don't let yourself be demotivated by having a goal that's too far away. And then third, if you need to, get your body weight in check, okay? Make sure you do the right things there to be able to start losing weight, okay? Don't put yourself under a whole heap of pressure and try and do a whole heap of things in the last few months before you get to Finke. Do the things now that are easy enough for you to do that you can put the time on. So as you get closer to Finke, if you have the opportunity to ride more and do bike prep, you've got the time there to do that. You don't have your mind focused on 1,000 things at once. So as we're on that note, if there are any of you guys that are serious about getting ready for Finke for next year, and you want to start that progress and start training properly and improving the quality of your bike time and start at least taking steps forward to make progress towards it, I'm taking on a handful of guys that want to start getting ready. So if that is something that you are interested in, I'll put a link down below in the comments for you. It's just an application form for coaching. Just going to ask you a little bit about what you're working towards for next year, any challenges that you're facing with your training, and what you feel you need to work on. And then I'll reach out to you and we'll have a quick call and see if I can help or not. But otherwise, hopefully you guys found today's video helpful, and looking forward to working with a handful of you guys as well and getting some more guys ready for next year. I'll chat to you guys soon. See ya.